When I first got married, I had no concept about being organized. My house was a complete mess. It was a complete tip. It was incredibly embarrassing to have anybody over. It was dirty because I couldn't keep a good cleaning routine. I had no concept at all of any sort of systematic cleaning or organization or a routine. I felt really, really stressed all the time. It was like I was carrying a huge ball in my chest all the time. I was incredibly stressed, I was anxious. I probably was a little bit depressed as well. I felt like I was never ever going to tackle the house. And I feel that a lot of homemakers can feel the same way if they struggle with their household, that they have this innate desire to have a well-organized household. It makes us feel calmer and happier and less stressed. And it also affects those in our household as well. I think that my family, my husband and my son, probably felt the consequences, the impact of living in a disorganized and messy home. And obviously our finances struggled as well, because I knew that I wanted to be frugal, or I had to be frugal with how I spent money, but I had no goals, and so I had no idea for how to actually go about that or commit to a plan. I've always been a really stubborn, determined person, and I've always been really big into DIY, the whole do-it-yourself concept. So I got to a stage where I was looking at certain people like my mother or other women that I knew who were just these really capable people. And I thought, what do they have that I don't have? How can they manage so well? How are they so organized and so disciplined, and I'm not? So I just started researching and really thinking about modern culture, modern expectations, modern thoughts towards the household, towards the role of a homemaker, towards food, towards finances, towards cleaning and all those sorts of things. And I thought there has to be an easier way. Thankfully, I found a breakthrough. I found a community of women and homemakers who were struggling just as much as I was, but were too ashamed to admit to it or to share their struggles with others. And it's like, yeah, I'm just living in this mess. It was just an acceptance that my house is a complete tip. I'm never going to get control of my laundry. I'm never going to get control of my kitchen. I don't think that is the way it has to be. The thing that I came to realize is that I'm going to have to work hard in order to organize my household, but the benefits far outweigh the work that I have to put into it. Not only will I be saving money, but I'll be happier. I won't be as stressed or anxious. And those in my household, my husband and my son, will feel the impact of that as well. I started Tradish because I was reflecting on what I felt passionate about. I was racking my brains, what can I provide as a service to people? What issues do I see? What have I struggled with myself? And what value can I give others? And I could see other women that I knew who, like myself, were really struggling with their households. And I saw there is a big community of women who need help. And through my experience of really struggling, having no experience with learning skill in organizing my household, and the research I found through that, I wanted to help women and help homemakers to really master their homes, to get help so that they can just take control of their households. When I got married, I also developed a big interest in healthy food for several reasons, for health issues that I had, and also in having my son. I wanted to make sure he was eating healthily. But I got very discouraged because I felt like modern food culture, especially when it comes to healthy food, it often has really expensive ingredients that were just way out of my budget. Much like in reflecting on traditional life hacks for managing the home, I went back to traditional dishes, traditional recipes that were healthy and were simple, and I analyzed modern culture and compared it to the past, where they were limited with what they could eat and in how long they could cook. They were limited in how much money they had to buy that food. And I found that in the dishes that have survived today, they've survived for a reason. It's because they're delicious and they're simple and they're healthy. And that's where humble, hearty, and healthy came from. The relationship between what you cook and how to manage the household is vital, because you need to obviously be healthy to keep on top of your household. I love to cook, but I hate slaving over the stove. And very often as a homemaker, you're in the kitchen cooking 3 meals a day. And that can be burdensome and really time consuming. With traditional dishes and recipes, they save you time. And with my format, with meal planning, it's done in such a way that you don't even have to cook every day. So it's lightening what's already a really heavy load on the homemaker. I found food budgeting to be so important because we live in a culture that's so excessive now. Generally when it comes to everything, but in particular when it comes to food, there's this expectation that you're to eat a huge variety of different types of food on a week-to-week basis, and that's incredibly expensive. And I found out that food is one of the largest household expenses. Food budgeting helps you because it forces you to eat simply, which lightens your load, and to save lots of money, which is important to reach your financial goals. To start the journey to food budgeting, I would recommend a couple of things. One, to declutter. So to really organize and go through your kitchen. So you just get rid of all the excess junk that's there, the single-use items and other things, so you can actually see what you have. And I would tell them to sit down and do their budget. Know exactly how much money they have coming in on a monthly basis and what are their expenses. So the other thing I would recommend is that they find out what their financial goals are. This is the motivation for them to budget well and to stick to their food budget. In my course, I talk about viewing your household holistically, or like a business. So a good business is run and managed exceptionally well. All areas of the business, they all coincide together and they work together holistically for the overall health of the business. And a household is very much the same. All the important aspects of managing a household, like budgeting, which includes food budgeting, meal planning, cleaning, organizing, all these things work together for the overall health of your household. If one is waning, it will have a knock-on effect on the others. By mastering food budgeting, you're kickstarting your way towards organizing and getting your household in better order. Another way that the household is like a business is that it might not be making money like a business does, but it saves money. So homemakers who are largely responsible of the day-to-day running of the household, and therefore most likely the expenses of the household, you have the power to save so much money towards your financial goals. That could be to get out of debt, it could be to save to build a house or provide for elderly relatives, for your kids to go to college debt-free. You have this ability to do this, and that's exciting. The household is very much like a business in that it makes money towards financial goals through saving money. To access our Mastering the Home Food Budgeting course, you head to tradish.net, where at the moment for a limited time, we have a massive pre-order sale of 40%. I'd recommend not just for housewives or homemakers to start this course, but for maybe someone who's interested in getting married or who just wants to run their household well, who may not be married. If I had been equipped with this knowledge before I got married, I would have saved myself so much money, so much time, and so much stress. I've wasted so much money in coming to this point, but I'm so glad that I did, because through going through that hardship and that stress and feeling the consequences of wasting money, I got to this point where I developed this course that I think is really valuable and can genuinely help other women like me. If I could encourage women who are struggling the same way that I was struggling, and still sometimes can be tempted to struggle, I'd tell them that they can do it. I think so often when we get to a stage where everything in the household is just completely out of control and you're exhausted and you have children to care for and maybe you're not eating the best, maybe you have health problems, you'll feel that you will never ever get on top of things and you'll just forever live your life in this mess and disorganization. I can tell you that you can get out of that if you put your mind to changing, to have the willingness to organize and break down your household into simple systems and routines. You can definitely get to a stage where you can master your household.